Rick fucking Dalton. You're sitting there like a fucking baboon. That's fucking it.
Okay, so Rick Dalton is my favorite character that came out of Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and the reason for that is because of how Leonardo DiCaprio took on the role.
Quentin Tarantino writes characters unlike anybody else, and so there really was only one person who could play Rick, and that was Leonardo DiCaprio.
In a scene that captures Rick's last emotional work in Hollywood, we get to understand its origins come from a conversation he has with Trudy Frazier, played by Julia Butters. And so let's pause and go back to that moment. Yeah, right here.
What's happening to Easy Breezy now?
He's not the best anymore. In fact, far from it. And
what Tarantino gives us is a well-needed explanation for Rick's existential career crisis, comparing Rick to the character in a Western book about a Bronco buster who no longer is the best in the West.
You know, Rick is a good-looking guy, came out to Hollywood, wanted to do Westerns because he knows he looks good in a cowboy outfit, he likes playing with guns, he likes riding horses, he knows he looks good on a horse, and now it's 1969 and the culture has changed. And guys like him, spent their whole careers running pocket combs through their pompadours. They're out on their ass.
And we see throughout the film that Rick has been on all sides of the good, the bad, and the ugly that Hollywood has to offer during this time. He started off as a lead in a hit TV series called Bounty Law, playing as Jake Cahill, where he gets a taste of Hollywood and ends up deciding to leave the show and try to make it as an actor in film.
For me, it was trying to capture what kind of actor Rick was and what his potential ultimately was, because in a lot of ways the script that he handed me was a man dealing with his own mortality. As soon as he has that Al Pacino sequence in the opening of the film, you understand that he's at a real turning point in his life. And
that scene, by the way, is when Marvin Schwartz, an agent who urges him to do spaghetti westerns in Italy, changes Rick's perspective of himself entirely. And so, if you haven't realized it by now, Rick Dalton is at his lowest point in his career. Albeit surrounding him is complete luxury, he doesn't feel fulfilled with his life, and more specifically, his ability to be a good actor. This can be better understood when you realize the decision to give Rick Dalton a slight stutter was a choice made by DiCaprio to illustrate further how Rick's confidence has diminished.
Well, thank you, Sam. I appreciate it. That's a good part.
Yeah, it is.
We actually get to see all of this come together during his performance in the first scene of Lancer, where at first he messes up a line.
Line? Go fetch her and tell her what?
And then messes up a scene.
Line.
Maybe he already has.
Maybe. God damn it, I fucked this whole thing up, Sam. I did. I fucked this whole thing up. God, can we just go back, please? Can we just cut?
No, really, just
No, really, Sam, please. God,
maybe he already has. Maybe he already has.
So this is why I feel DiCaprio did an amazing job at capturing who Rick Dalton is. Someone that has lost their ability to compose themselves as an actor and hold any integrity of a character outside the stage. It also seems like he had a better understanding than Tarantino did about Rick.
Leo had a whole thing at some point. It was like, look, I need to ruin it during the Lancer sequence. All right. And when I blow the scene, I need to have a real crisis of conscience about it. And I have to come back from that.
It's what makes his last performance so effective. That scene where he's walking back, determined to perform after having a fit in his trailer.
What the fuck was that? Jesus Christ! You're sitting there like a fucking baboon.
And I think I'm really glad we got to do that sequence, because it really bound those two moments together, and it became, like I said, our own little unique mini film within this great Hollywood epic.
And that mini film within a film idea that they're talking about was this scene.
Puts $50,000 in my lap, or I'll eat this little pitcher down a well. You got that, Boston? Huh?
Yeah.
All right, messenger boy. Deliver my message.
Give me evil, sexy Hamlet. Settle into it. Enjoy it.
And cut!
Something I noticed about this final act is that it wasn't that good, and it gives me the impression that the characters in the scene who are reacting to Rick's performance as stellar acting, and we as the audience reacting to what is seemingly a mediocre performance, appreciate the effort more than we appreciate the result of that effort. I don't see Rick Dalton as an amazing actor, and neither does Trudy, who mentions that was
the best acting I've ever seen in my whole life.
Like you.
She could have said it was scary, she believed it, she felt uncomfortable, something to imply that it almost felt real. And not to say that all acting should feel real, but that we should believe in the context of the story. But instead, Trudy mentioned that was the best acting I'd ever seen, which to me indicates we rather see a performance we can relate to, appreciate, and come to understand the actor's struggle more than witness a well-choreographed actor. This moment also gave Rick the confidence to accept a fate in spaghetti westerns in Italy and eventually return to Hollywood and retire. We see the arc of a character go from success to struggle and then acceptance, and then Tarantino puts this very clearly, showing Rick's last scene rising forward, crossing the gates of his own life to a new opportunity. One other thing I'd like to mention before I wrap things up, aside from DiCaprio's role as Rick Dalton, is Brad Pitt's performance as Cliff Booth. In real life, DiCaprio was nominated for Best Actor and Brad Pitt as Best Supporting Actor, but I like to think that those roles could easily be switched. And I think Tarantino would agree, seeing that there's a reason he put both their names simultaneously in the opening credits. They're on equal footing. And while we don't see as much of an arc with Cliff Booth as we do with Rick, he does set up a beautiful trio that exists in the film. Rick, Cliff, and Sharon happen to be three different stages that might exist in Hollywood. Rick is at his lowest point, not even getting to hit it big in Hollywood, and moved further from it, while Sharon is invited to parties, knows directors, and stars in films. And Cliff is right there, taking a back seat to everything. Not the lead, but still tagging along. It's an interesting way to divide the film in three sections, cutting to and from the different ways Hollywood can affect people. And while I could have talked more about the technical aspects of the film, which are amazing, I wanted to bring attention to one of the more impactful scenes in the film. I think when watching films and appreciating film form, something that can be overlooked is the effort put into a film. The appreciation we have for cinema comes from a deep humanistic viewpoint we share with each other. We're all just people, and we're all just trying.